Hey guys, hope you're doing well. It's pretty late, but I thought I would do a stream for members quickly because there's a topic that's been on my mind pretty much all day. I got a comment on one of my videos, on my recent video actually, where I talked about the hiddenness of God with a gentleman named Mike Willenborg, and I kind of expected there to be I don't know, just comments or viewers that would take issue with some of the stuff we said. And as I was preparing the topic, as I was preparing the questions I was going to be asking Mike, I already anticipated a comment that would say something along the lines of, well, the reason God's existence isn't obvious is because there is no God. And it just seems... Okay, so I knew that comment was coming, right? And when I got it, I just remember thinking, I used to think that way. And I used to say that with just as much conviction as I intuited from the comment when I read it. And it really got me kind of thinking about atheism and this idea that atheism is a lack of belief or like a non-belief. So maybe you've seen, if you follow religious conversations online at all, I'm sure you've seen a comment section where someone has said that atheism is not a belief, it's a lack of belief, right? And I know that there's a lot of debate about just that point alone, right? Because you'll get people that say, well, no, atheism is not technically a lack of belief. You're asserting something. But I think that that's kind of beside the point for at least this discussion and what I want to kind of propose. Yeah, so you've definitely seen a comment like that. And these types of comments, I saw another one on the channel that sits on the video that said something like, some friendly guy asked me if I have any books that I recommend on refuting atheism. And somebody commented and said to him, well, you can't refute atheism because atheism is not a belief, it's a lack of belief. And honestly, my response, the comment I said to that guy was, why are we... Okay, let's grant that, right? Let's just say atheism is a non-belief. Atheism is a lack of belief. And therefore, if you want to follow the logic of the commentator or the commenter, okay, well then you can't really refute it because it's not something you can refute. And I actually am at the point where I kind of want to say, okay, why are we arguing non-positions? Why are we arguing non-beliefs? Why are we arguing no things? It's, first of all, kind of strange to me when somebody argues for a non-position, right, by their own admission. And I think, well, what I said to the guy was like, instead of worrying about refuting people that say this is a non-position or this is a no thing, it's a non-belief, it's like rather understand the building blocks of your beliefs, rather begin building something as opposed to arguing a no thing. Rather read, I think a good book to begin with would probably, if you know nothing, assuming you know nothing about Christianity, I would say go to Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, because I think you'll get a great overview, and then go a few years back in your reading and read Orthodoxy by Chesterton. And what both those two books have in common is that they're not trying to argue non-positions, they're actually proposing to you a positive view of the world. And when I say positive, I don't mean optimistic or happy, I don't mean positive in that sense, I just mean that they're actually providing you with a view of the world, as opposed to a non-view, as opposed to an absence of something that trying to give you something through which you can perceive the world around you, and something that can guide your actions and guide the way you think about things. So I'm kind of just at the point now where it seems to me like, first of all, why are we having this debate about a non-position? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the need to refute atheism, and I think, if you're having a friendly conversation with a friend, and he states something, and you disagree, like, I'm not saying we shouldn't have conversation and have debate. Nobody would say that, right? But it's like, are we spending more time trying to refute positions than actually just understanding and educating ourselves and learning about how we actually see things? I mean, I honestly am at the point, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm at the point where I'm not interested in having arguments with people about non-positions. I'd rather get to know you, right? If you tell me you're an atheist and you hate God, to me the interesting place to take that conversation is not a list of deductive arguments about why I'm right and you're wrong. To me, the interesting place to take that conversation is, have you always felt that way? How did you come to that position? Or non-position, however you want to call it. How did you get to the point that you would type that into a comment section? Like, what is your background? How do you see things? Instead of trying to debunk or refute your view, like, why don't you first tell me what your view is? Because up until this point, you've only told me what you don't believe in. And so I think I was just trying to, like, share honestly with the commentator how I feel about this. It's like, if you're asking me for book recommendations to refute atheism, I think atheism is so 2006, man. Like, get with the times. Like, let's have a conversation about actual positive. And again, when I say positive, I don't mean happy, or I just mean in the I don't know, philosophical sense, but like an actual position, like an actual view, an actual living view of the world that you can use. So let's have a debate about that. Like, we're all huddled in a circle debating the filioque, and we're debating papacy and the infallibility of the Pope, and then someone comes along and says, well, God isn't real. It's like, okay, that's a full stop. We're interested in commas. We want to keep the conversation going. We want to learn more about this, because if there's even a 1% chance that God is real, then it's the most important 1% chance that there is. So I'm tired of full stops. I'm tired of these conversation enders. And I don't mean the people, I mean the idea, right? I think Chesterton said something, or he did say something like, the only thought that needs to be stopped is the thought that stops thought, right? The only idea worth stopping is the idea that there are no ideas worth discussing. Or the only line of thinking is the line of thinking which suggests that there's no point in having lines of thinking. Maybe you think a Christian is mistaken in their worldview, but talk about your positive worldview. Talk about how you see things and get involved in the conversation. I just don't think it's to your benefit or to mine or to anybody's if we're just trying to shut each other's conversations down. It's like if I'm having a conversation with a Protestant friend, and then I bring up the Pope, and then they just say something like, oh, you know that the Vatican is evil. It's like, okay, lay it on me. Like, let's have the conversation. I might not agree with you, but at least it's not a full stop. At least you're not saying, oh, you know that there's no reason, you know that I actually don't even believe that there is a Vatican, and therefore we can't have this conversation. It's like, I'm phrasing myself really badly here because it's late and I'm tired, but I hope I'm making this point clear. Like, why are we arguing no things, no positions, non-active, living, positive principles? Let's help each other build up a positive and living view of the world. And I'm not just talking to atheists now. I'm talking to everyone, right? The art of conversation is construction. It's to build on ideas. And yes, maybe one of the ideas I suggest is wrong, but, you know, Buckminster Fuller said, if you want to change an existing system, the way you change that system is not by complaining about it or pointing out its flaws necessarily, but actually suggesting a new system that's so much better that it just doesn't make sense for us to go back to the old system. And when I teach classes on management, this is the first thing I tell junior managers is like, if you get to a new workplace and there's a system or a policy in place that you don't like, the way to change it is not to complain about it and to argue about it and to say, well, I don't believe in this current system we're adhering to. That's not going to change anything, because at a lot of companies, they'd rather have a bad system than have no system. They'd rather have a poorly run leadership. They'd rather have a leader that's kind of bad than a purely anarchic, you know, everybody's your own leader system. And so if you want to make a change, you've got to go to your managers with the suggestion that's so much better that it just doesn't make sense for us to keep using the old system. And every good salesperson knows this, right? Like if someone calls you on the phone and tries to sell you car insurance, for example, that salesperson shouldn't tell you just how bad your current insurer is. They should propose a new service that they can offer that's far cheaper and is going to give you far more value. And if it isn't cheaper, if it's roughly the same price or even more expensive, they have to show you how that extra additional expense to you is worth more, is more valuable. And so that idea of changing a system through coming with a positive, developed idea of a new and better system. I know the YouTube comment section is not the place to apply this kind of stuff. Probably not. But I'm frustratingly optimistic, even to myself. I just think, man, like, don't just tell me that this is wrong. Like, you can tell me it's wrong, and you can even tell me why you think it's wrong, but contribute something constructive and new, right? If you come into the conversation and say, well, there is no God, and I say, okay, but what about this? Right? I'm trying to put a comma on your full stop, but if you say, no, you can't. I'm not stating a position. I'm just telling you. I'm just stating a non-belief or a lack of belief. You can't refute what I'm saying. It's like, okay, cool, but you've just given me a full stop, and I want to have a conversation. I want to talk to someone. I want to get deeper into this. I want to entertain the idea that maybe I don't know as much as I could know, which I clearly don't, and like, let's build on top of that. But simply entering a conversation to shut it down or to say that it's a conversation not worth having is really the conversation that I don't think is worth having. I used to be an atheist like you, and then I took some suffering to the knee. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share some of that with you. I know at the beginning of this I said I'd make this for members, but I think I might just share this with everyone, because it's very possible that you're sitting there right now and you're like, man, Dylan, you're so wrong on this. You're so mistaken. Good. Give me a comma. Continue the conversation. Let me know what I'm seeing wrong. I actually do read the comments. I do try and respond. Let me know, right? But add to the conversation. Acknowledge, especially when you're trying to have dialogue, right? Build on the conversation. This is just basic communication. Basic, mutual, charitable back and forth between people. And I'm not like I'm guilty of this too, man. I've also entered conversations and shut things down. I've also done that, right? So I'm not trying to like label a specific group of people as bad. And I don't even think all atheists are like that. And certainly not, right? But in this case, that specific comment really got me thinking about it. And in this case, I'm responding to that, right? So take what I'm saying as you will, interpret it as you will. I ask for your charity. I'll try and be charitable to you in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are we arguing non-positions? Are we arguing nothings, no things? And how do we actually build more constructive conversations? Because, I mean, this is not just with non-believers. This is a problem within believing circles. Catholics have this issue with Orthodox. Orthodox have this issue with Catholics. Protestants have this issue with everybody, with Orthodox and Catholics and everybody. I'm not trying to single out Protestants. We all have this issue, okay, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. Anyway, perhaps just some conversational advice, right? If you want to change a system, you have to you have to come up with a better system. You have to provide a new structure that just makes more sense. And this is why I recommended Mere Christianity and Orthodoxy. Because in Orthodoxy, Chesterton isn't really refuting positions. He's just kind of laying out how he came to the positions he came to. And I think that's what a lot of us, myself included, need to be doing, right? Like, what is my positive, active, living vision of the world? And is my whole position just refutations of other people's positions? Or do I actually hold something? Do I actually believe something? And if I really believe it, and I really want to believe what I believe is true, because I value truth, then I want to have comma-filled conversations that keep going. So yeah, I'm probably repeating myself, and I have repeated myself several times now, but we need to have living, positive visions of the world, and we need to construct those and build on top of those. And please don't think that the word construct is me saying we got to construct things from whole cloth, right? We got to look at the bare basics and build upwards, build a strong foundation and build upwards. And at least insofar as you communicate with other people, the way to do that is charitably. And yeah, of course, a dead thing always goes with the stream, but a living thing swims against it. And so our living views, positive assertions of the world, do swim against things, and you will get pushback. But at least that pushback, it forces you to swim more, and it forces the conversation to keep going. Great. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. God bless you wherever you are in the world. Bless your families. Please pray for me. I'll pray for you. And if you're an atheist, keep me in your thoughts. I'll keep you in mind. Cheers.